Licensed games, you never know, you never know. Back in the day, games based on famous franchises were just, you knew that they would be bad. They were just stupid roll and move games with some art coming from a movie or from a TV show. And then Fantasy Flight in the early 21st century changed the idea. I think they are the ones that first committed to the licenses, and they really wanted to give us thematic games also with gameplay depth. And so to this day, when there's a big franchise, you never know if it's gonna go the old way of spin and move and call it whatever it is, but it's still the same spin and move game, or seriously thematic games. So I didn't really know what to expect when I purchased Jurassic Park Danger. My daughters like Jurassic Park, the franchise. They loved in particular the Fallen Kingdom, and so I thought, let me just give it a try. After I bought it, somehow I forgot about it until last weekend when my daughters had a play date. A friend of theirs came over. My daughters are 6 and 8. The friend is 9. And the friend, when asked, "What are you gonna do when you grow up?" she answers, "I'm gonna be a T-Rex." And I thought, if that is your aspiration, why wait until you grow up? Because in this game, you do get to be a T-Rex and another bunch of dinosaurs. This is a team-based game in which some players will be dinosaurs, some players will be humans, and of those, some will be dinner. So, let me show you how the game works. The game is played on this modular board. It has a frame here, and then you have these axes that are shuffled face down at the beginning of the game during setup, and then they are placed in a semi-random order. Semi-random because the axes that you see here on the edges will always be on the edges. They are marked that way on the other side, of course, in different positions within the edge, but still there will be this outside ring. Then you have this central ring here. Again, you shuffle them and you place them within that ring, and then the starting tile will always be there, and that is where you place the humans that are in play at the beginning of the game. And then also the random location, the random placement of the tiles will tell you where the dinosaurs start and also where the location for 3 important structures will be. The game is played by a player that controls all dinosaurs against a team controlling the humans. Now, very important, you need 4 humans in play. That is just the way it is. The dinosaurs, as you can imagine, they have the goal of eating as many humans as possible. If there aren't 4 humans, so that some can run around and do stuff while the dinos run after the other ones, it's very hard for the humans to make it. So ideally, you're going to play with exactly 5 players. 1 player controls the dinos and 4 players control a human each. Otherwise, I suggest with fewer players that you have the human players controlling multiple humans so they can have 4 human characters. So, the dinosaurs will win if they eat 3 humans, as simple as that. As for the humans, victory is a little more convoluted. There are these 3 structures that I mentioned earlier. We have the maintenance shed, we have the visitor center, and then we have the control center. A human needs to go to one of these locations, roll a 5 on a 6-sided die. That activates the location, and so you turn the tile of the location face up. At the beginning it is on its grayed out side. And that is what you do. Also, by activating a location, the humans get advantages. By activating the maintenance shed, the humans activate the electric fence, and so you can place these tiles on the edges on the board to show the electric fence. And now that the electric fence edges cannot be crossed anymore. I'm not going to put them all there, but just to give you a sense. When the humans activate the control center, several areas on the board are locked, and so the dinos cannot get in there anymore, so there's a safe areas for the humans. When the visitor center is activated, the player that activates it gets some cards back, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So the players need to activate all of those locations. When they're all activated, the helicopter arrives in the helipad, and at that point the characters have a chance of leaving the island. However, each character also has an individual goal. So after the helicopter is here, a character that has completed their individual goal can board the helicopter, and the humans win if a certain number of characters manage to board the helicopter. So a little more convoluted for that. Now, as for the characters, the human characters, each has a deck of cards, such as this one. We'll have a look at Ellie's deck, for example. Each deck of cards, again, is unique, they're a little bit flimsy, but if you sleeve cards, you won't have any problem. And they represent different actions. Some are regular actions, some are free instant actions. And then there is a number here at the bottom. The card can be played for its main effect, or it can be burned to use that number and add it to a die roll. Suppose that I want to roll a 5, but I rolled a 3, and I want to roll a 5, I rolled a 3, and I really want a 5 because remember a 5 is what I need to activate one of the locations. Then I can burn a card that has at least a 2 here. I place it in the burn area of my player aid. And now, ta-da! 3 plus 2, that is a 5, so I passed the test. So I can burn cards to add that number to die rolls after I see the result of the die roll. However, burned cards are out of the game. I cannot use them anymore. Otherwise, when I play cards, they will go in my discard pile. How do I get cards back? This is very important. I burn a card from my hand to be able to get all of my cards back. And that means that if I discarded them all and I don't have any in my hand, then I cannot get any back because I don't have one that I can burn. So the closer you go, the more dangerous it gets, because it may be that I only have one card in my hand and I say, okay, I'm gonna burn it next time, and something happens, I lose that card, and now I'm stuck. In fact, humans die if they're attacked by a dinosaur when they have no cards in their hand, or when they cannot get cards back into their hand. And when the dinosaurs attack them, the penalty is, well, for each attack, the dino player takes a random card from the human player's hand and burns it. So this is the interesting idea here. These cards also represent, let's call them health points. When they go to 0 and the player cannot get these cards back, the player dies. Interesting enough, there is human elimination but not player elimination. When your character dies, that is one kill for the dinos, so they're closer to victory. They need to kill a number of people to win, but then you simply get another character, and that is pretty good, because that's how a movie of this kind should be. Someone must die, should die, for the game to be thematic, but at the same time, we don't want to eliminate players because this is not 1975. We don't do direct player elimination these days anymore. So, as for the dinos also have a player aid, which is sort of reminiscent of the one for the humans, but actually it looks like this. The dinos also have a set of cards, a deck of cards. Now, the human player, the deck of cards is also the initial hand of cards. The human player can have all of their character cards in their hand. The dinos have a deck of cards, but only a hand of 3. Each turn, they will select a card, put it face down here to commit to it. Then, when it's the time, they will reveal it, perform the actions, and after that, the dinosaur player gets a free action. That is, the dino player can take a special free action with one of the dinosaurs. You cannot take the same action twice in a row, that is, in 2 subsequent turns. And a way to remember that is, if, for example, I use the raptor special ability, I place the token there. So I know the next turn, I can only activate one of these 2 as my special free action. As for turn structure, the way it works, at the beginning of a new turn, the dinosaur player chooses one of their cards and places it face down there. They commit to take that action. Each human then looks at their cards and also chooses one and places this down there again, committing to it. So basically, pretty much you have secret simultaneous selection. Free action cards cannot be selected in this phase. They're let's call them reaction cards. You can play them during the turn as extra actions, but not as your main action. So the dinosaur player and all human players commit to specific actions. Then the dinosaur player reveals their action, resolves the actions there, and again takes a special action. And then the humans, in any order, will resolve their action. Now, as for the actions, actions can be that, well, you run, which is you move. Run is the same for humans or for dinos, so you move through an unimpeded edge. You may climb, and you may climb one of these cliffs or climb an electric fence that is not active. For the dinosaurs, well, they just do it. They use the climb action, which is one of the actions on their cards. For the humans, it's a little bit trickier because they have to roll a die. Players and dinosaurs can also sneak. When you take the sneak action, and again, those come from cards, you place the character that is sneaking face down, like this on the side, and next turn the character can appear in the hex in which it was or in an adjacent one. So you don't know exactly where the dinosaur is or where the human is, where the human will pop up next time. Sneak, climb, distract. The humans also have that action, which is when you attract a dinosaur from an adjacent space into yours, and the dinosaur will probably start chomping on your head. But that's then the spirit of sacrifice that the humans have to show as they are cooperating. So after the dinos, after taking their normal action, the dinos, as I said, they have special actions. I don't know that I show them. I showed them to you, probably didn't discuss them. So here we go. For the free action, the dino player uses the Velociraptor. The raptor moves two spaces in a straight line. The T-Rex can attack one character twice, and the Dilophosaurus can attack a character in an adjacent space. This is the guy that spits, if you remember the original movie. So this is pretty much how it works. It seems pretty convoluted, and in a sense it is. It is thematic and also a little bit fiddly, but dinosaur player selects an action, humans select an action, dinosaur player takes their turn resolving regular actions and a special action, humans resolve their action, possibly burn cards, roll dice, possibly replenish their hand by burning a card. Continue like this until either the dinosaurs have eaten 3 humans or the humans have completed their mission of activating the locations, completing their goals, and getting the heck out of the island. This is a strange game because on one hand you expect from a game of this kind, Ravensburger, looks like a family game. You expect a game that's a little simpler, a little more streamlined. It has that level of fiddliness that I would expect from a more hardcore, from a more specialized game. So I personally didn't have a problem with that, nor did have my daughters, because especially my 8-year-old, I've been training her as a gamer since she was 2.5, I believe. And so, well, she can play games that are more complex than what the average 8-year-old can play. And the 9-year-old, in fact, sometimes was struggling. She was getting confused about what to do and when to do things. Also, her mom was there and was playing with us, and she also seemed to struggle to follow the action. However, then the action is pretty fun when you get in the spirit, when you get in the theme, because controlling dinosaurs and running after humans and eating their heads off, that never gets old. And so actually the friend that when she grows up wants to be a T-Rex was happy with that. Now, and as the humans, of course, there are rewards there when you don't get eaten. However, I like the fact that you can get eaten. There is direct elimination of characters, not of players. Because in a certain sense, this allows you to see the Jurassic Park that should be. In fact, where those pesky kids finally get eaten. So yes, so you may get that sense. It has been since the 90s that I detested those little kids. So there are characters that maybe you didn't like, and finally they can get out of the way, and the game still works. The player that controlled them is still in the game. Aside from this like petty revenges such as this one, I like the fact that humans can die but the adventures can continue, because then, speaking more seriously, it brings to the game a theme that I like very much, which is sacrifice. In movies, it's always very moving when there is somebody who takes a bullet for the team, who makes extreme sacrifices. And so here you have somebody that will die right after they were able to activate a certain location so that the team can leave on the helicopter. That's a powerful moment. I like that very much. So the game feels extremely thematic. You have this large range of characters. You can play the villain. So you can play the villains, and they can be quote unquote the good guys, the guys that make it, while Alan Grant and Dr. Ellie get eaten. So there are just thematic variants that are extremely fascinating for me to explore. In that sense, thematically speaking, the game doesn't feel as railroaded like other games. Again, imagine a Star Wars game in which you can be Darth Vader or Boba Fett or Jango Fett or what the heck, Jar Jar Binks, and you can play Jar Jar Binks as that was a good guy. Sorry, when I talk about Jar Jar Binks, I get confused. So thematically, I love the variants that you can create. Gameplay wise, however, gameplay feels a little bit claustrophobic, a little bit railroad, a little bit limited. There aren't just many things that you can do, and they are, let's say, fairly obvious. Well, as the humans, you have a schedule of things to do which is tight as is, and you want to get it done as fast as you can to reduce the chances of that the dinosaurs will turn you into a delicious meal. The visitor center that lets you get cards back is less attractive than the other ones. If you get defenses, or in particular if you get the lockdown of certain locations early on, that's beneficial. So also those locations are not born equal. Once you have the random placement of the dinosaurs, once the setup is revealed, again, there are just certain things that you will never want to do. So it just feels like, again, pretty obvious from time to time, from step to step, what to do. I like the potential dilemma, oh my gosh, should I burn this card or not? But again, in truth, I failed by a roll to activate one of the three things that I need to activate to win. Well, I'm gonna burn the card. That's not really a dilemma anymore. It's a no-brainer. So there are these elements in gameplay that seem to be potentially very interesting. Oh, I had to move in the jungle. Oh, I had to decide when to burn a card or not. But in truth, then in actuality, during the execution, they feel pretty obvious. The next step seems pretty obvious. So it's a weird game because it's very thematic, but gameplay is pretty basic, I would say, even a little bit disappointing. And you have to do a lot of work to get to that basic gameplay, through which, however, you can enjoy a fun theme. So there are these pluses and minuses here between a theme that really shines through and allows you again to create fun variants over the original plot, and the same gameplay, which is I'm gonna play a card to move there, and you're gonna play a card to bite me, and I'm gonna move a card there to activate that thing, and you're gonna use that other card to bite me again. Which is not a problem now that we both knew exactly that was gonna happen all the time. So really basic, bland gameplay, fun theme. And this, I guess, is my final assessment of Jurassic Park Danger. Not a bad game, a very good thematic idea, but not a bad game, but not a particularly exciting one either.